I didn't plan on being a single mom, but it happened, right? And you figure your way through, particularly when you keep a strong support system around you. My daughter and I were actually laugh. She's home, which has been great for a few days. And we were laughing about, like, you know, at her age now, she would have been me with a 2-year-old. She's like, I just can't even imagine. I said, yeah, your grandmama and granddaddy saved us, right? And we laugh about that, but I mean, I am so grateful that I leaned in to my support system. Sometimes, from whatever it is, for whatever reason, sometimes we won't lean into our built-in support system. For me, it could have been shame and embarrassment of just like, maybe, I didn't take the path that I thought I would.
Hey everybody, I'm back with another episode of So Success Stories. Today I'm talking to my longtime friend, Dorcas Young Griffin.
Yeah,
Get it? Right. I was like, I want to say the Griffin is new, but it ain't that new now.
It's 10 years. It's 10 years. Oh, we will get into that though.
Oh, wow. Okay. Time goes by so fast. Okay, so I've known Dorcas, I don't know. It's been a long time, and I think we originally met through your parents, through the Healing Center, So and you're an incredible woman. I actually, you know what? We're gonna get into the questions in a minute, but I just remember your name coming up all the time, Natasha.
Yep.
Who is Dorcas? And I was like, who is this Dorcas chick? I gotta meet her. And I finally got to meet her. Okay, so Dorcas is an incredible woman with an incredible title, with an incredible journey, and I can't wait to share it. So Dorcas is now the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Shelby County Government. And she probably is the coolest person ever to have ever held this title. So I'm so excited to share her story. Dorcas, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am so grateful you asked me to be here. Hey, Summer.
Hey,
I am Dorcas Young Griffin. I'm a lifelong Memphian, born and raised by this city. I am the daughter of two preachers, the late great William Young and Pastor Diane Young, at the Healing Center. Grew up here with my brothers, and I went to Idlewild Elementary, Snowden Junior High, and East High School. I went off to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for college. Came back home with some dreams of going to medical school, but life happened, and 24 years later, I now have my daughter who I got pregnant with after college. And so that really kind of changed my trajectory. I ended up, taking care of her for a couple of years, first couple of years, and super excited that I got to do that. But really was trying to find my way career-wise, and decided to apply at the University of Memphis for the master's program in public administration. I then decided I wanted to go to medical school again, brought that dream back up. So I started working for the Church Health Center as a clerk, as a clinic assistant, maybe making like $7 an hour. But finished my master's degree at the University of Memphis, and my parents said, girl, you have got to get a job, like figure this out. And so that led to me applying for an entry-level job 17 years ago at the Shelby County Health Department. I was hired by the great Yvonne Madlock to work in a new HIV program that the county had. And it was just, a fresh out of school job. And 17 years later, I'm still at the county, still working. And now, I guess, like, if you say like organizational structure, I've moved up the ranks to probably, I guess, like the third, fourth in operational charge, right? So I have definitely seen God's hand on me in my work. And even what I thought was a detour or something that was denied, my God gave me dreams bigger than I ever imagined, even not going to medical school, right?
I can't wait to get into the journey. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got it. I went too far. I went too far.
No, that was great.
Okay.
I can see where you're going with it, and I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, but I want you
Yeah.
to first say you're married. Talk about your little one, your big one.
Yes. So when I talked about my story, I mentioned my 24-year-old daughter, Alexis. Life goes full circle. I had Alexis when I was 22. She's 24 now. And she is living in Brooklyn, New York. She graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and just recently graduated from NYU and is working for the NBA.
Awesome.
But 10 years ago, in our lives comes this hilarious, wonderfully kind man, Cleo Griffin. I never thought, I really had just kind of settled on like I was going to be the cool mom and the cool auntie, and I was cool with like not getting married. I tell you again, God will have something better for you than you imagine. Cleo and I started dating in March of 2013. We were married by August of 2014. And we added to our crew. We call ourselves the GYJ crew. Um, we added Carter Griffin 8 years ago. So my little family, and Luna, who is our dog. Um, we holding it down with each other. So
It's been
I'm just
beautiful to watch.
blessed. I'm blessed.
It's been beautiful to watch because I saw, you and I've known each other, but we don't talk
Right.
all the time. So thank God for Facebook because you can see people's lives.
Facebook is not all bad, right? Like I think sometimes we'll get on there and talk about all the people complaining and all the bad stuff, but Facebook really has kept us connected. It's kept me connected
Absolutely.
with a lot of people because it's so much going on, but we have to
Absolutely.
root for each other on the screen. And so that's what I use it for.
Yeah.
I lurk on Facebook so I can root for my folks.
I do too. I do too. And I even remember, that's why I was like, you said 10 years you've been married. And I was like, I remember when that was new. I was like, oh yeah, it's still new. That's why I'm messing your name up still because it's new. I was like, oh no, 10 years is not that new.
Gone by so fast. It's
It
gone by.
does. Well, I'm so excited. Like I see God's hands on your life too. And I'm so excited for you because, like I said, I just think you're an amazing person, a beautiful spirit, and I'm very, very happy for you and your journey and your personal life, your professional life has just really been really beautiful. And I'm excited to share your story and share your journey with everybody who watches this. So, Dorcas, in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. It's
Mhm.
my belief for that anybody, if they can learn how to overcome obstacles and eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, they can have so what success. And that's success no matter what happens in life, whatever hiccups that may come. And Dorcas, I know your journey a little bit, and I know that you are so a success woman. So let's talk to me a little bit about some of the obstacles that you've had on your journey and how you've overcome those obstacles.
So I mean, I mentioned just life happening, right? Like, I didn't plan on being a single mom, but it happened, right? And you figure your way through, particularly when you keep a strong support system around you. I don't, my daughter and I were actually laugh. She's home, which has been great for a few days, and we were laughing about like, you know, at her age now, she would have been me with a 2-year-old. She's like, I just can't even imagine. I said, yeah, your mom, your grandmama and granddaddy saved us, right? And we laugh about that, but I mean, I am so grateful that I leaned in to my support system.
Mhm.
Sometimes, from whatever it is, for whatever reason, sometimes we won't lean into our built-in support system. For me, it could have been shame and embarrassment of just like maybe, I didn't take the path that I thought I would, right? But instead of leaning into that, I leaned into love, the love that they were offering me. One of the things that I think any barrier. Because I mean, I got a lot of mistakes, and we ain't got enough time to talk about all of them. But my dad used to always preach about grace. And the older that gotten, I really, really understand it very differently. I could feel it back then, but now I can articulate that, the acceptance of grace for yourself is a major player in being able to overcome whatever. And the truth is, not only do you have to forgive yourself for whatever that thing is that you are struggling with, but you have to forgive other people and let them off the hook, right? Like you got to have some reciprocity for all the things. And when you free yourself of a lot of that stuff that you have for yourself and for others, man, it makes life just easier, not carrying that.
Actually, this Dorcas, because that's so true. But that's so much easier to say than to do.
Oh, well, honey, let's be clear. Like there is, I'm telling you, the textbook, but the humanity of it is that it's a journey. Grace is a journey, right? And so, going back to that support system, you got to have a support system around you that allows you to be human, right? So, at 22, it was my parents. But I'll tell you, I have a support system now. So, and this may be in another question, but I'm gonna go ahead and break it out.
Go for it.
So 13 years, nearly 13 years ago, November 10th, 2011, I was in the shower. And I'm a preacher's kid. And so, when you hear people say, the Lord told me, for me, I'm like, I'm just skeptical. But I had to knock on my skeptic brain because I heard the Lord say to me in the shower, you and your friends have done so much together. Y'all party together, y'all kick it together. You are now in a stage of life where y'all need to pray together. And so I was like, oh Lord, my friends gonna think I'm crazy. But that day, I sent out an email to 30 of my friends on November 10th, 2011, and said, hey, y'all, God said to me, we need to start praying together. I don't know what that means. So we just gonna get on a prayer on like a conference call in the morning at 6:30, and we're just gonna pray together, right? Like, let's just do it. Let's just be obedient. 13 years later, not all the same 30, it's new people. There every morning, there are about 35 people every morning, not some mornings, every morning for the last 13 years. I have a prayer family, a prayer call with people, with women, and we got some men that be on there too. A couple of them that jumped on, but it's our village, right? Like we pray, we start just 15 minutes a day, 6:30 in the morning, we call on this prayer line. Some people talk, some don't. We inspire each other, we pray for each other, and we go on about the day. We check in on each other. And some of these people are people I've never met in my life. When my father passed 2 years ago, I looked up at the funeral, and it's this lady, this 80-year-old lady in Chicago named Mother Conley that some kind of way got the number through connections. Mother Conley was sitting there at my dad's funeral, right? We have a member who's a friend of mine who just joined like recently, and she's been on there. She just got diagnosed with breast cancer. And yesterday she had a double mastectomy. Yesterday, she provided the moment of inspiration for us that morning before she went into surgery. And yesterday and today, their prayer family, who don't even know her, are praying for her, checking on her, and part of her village. Get you a village. Your village may not look like mine, but I'm telling you, like the things that we face in life, we cannot do it alone. We gotta have people, relationships that can support us through. I firmly believe it.
I do too. That's powerful, Dorcas. I didn't know that. And so now I need that number.
You got it. We're going to be looking for you. Just jump on.
I was like, the problem is I don't get up at 6:30, but maybe I have to start getting up at 6:30.
Just, hey, now look, some mornings I got the pillow on my head, right? Like, but we on there, right? Like, so it's become like, I don't even feel right if I don't start my day that way in fellowship with other people.
That's powerful. And I couldn't agree more about relationship. However, like you said, however it looks for you. And you know, and I know everybody's not as blessed as you are. And having those parents to step up into, because that wasn't exactly my situation. And I was
Mhm.
a teen mom too. But I think it's important, like you said, to find those people. And that's one thing that I like to say and to preach too is your relationships may not be with the people you think they're supposed to be with. Your support network may not be the support network you thought you were gonna have, but it's there.
But
It's
it's
there.
there. It's there. I mean, just stopping and taking a breath and assessing, like you got family around you, and that is powerful. Your friends can be your family. It doesn't have to be traditional. It doesn't have to be your mama and daddy. It can be your auntie or your grandmama, or it can be the lady down the street that just pours into you and supports you. But just tap into your network, because we all have one or have the potential to have
Right.
one if we ain't got one right now, right?
Right. Right. I couldn't agree more. Well, that's good. So, Dorcas, talk about so the second part, so a success system is eliminating excuses, and it's part of what we were just talking about in that. But talk about some of the excuses you had to eliminate to get to where you are on your journey.
That I'm not enough,
Mm.
right? Like that what I bring to the table is not going to be enough for that job, for that man, for whatever. And if I'm a thinker, right? Like the thoughts in my head, like they are loud, and I'm always overthinking things, and I can be very critical, particularly of myself. And that can be used as an excuse, right? Like if you have talked yourself into not being enough, then you're like, what's the point? Like, just somebody else will take care of it. Just don't even go out for that. Just play it safe. um and so again, how do you work on that? For me, therapy.
Hmm.
Shout out to all the therapists.
I'm
um
glad you said that. Yeah.
get you one. Get you a therapist. Get you some counsel, because it makes a difference. I love my therapist, right? I haven't seen her in a while, but I need to go back. I'm glad we're talking about this, because it just helps you to like really deal with your stuff. For me, my stuff is self-talk. I would also say, in addition to like the advice of getting a therapist, you got to be really careful what you pour into your spirit, right? Like, so sometimes the things that we are consuming, just the information, the vibes that we are consuming, like they feed into like the things that you may use as an excuse that you can't do it or that you're not enough and all of this. So, just being really in tune and intentional. I'm trying to be more intentional about, you know, where I go, what I'm putting in here. And
Yeah.
that's different for everybody else. That may not be other people's testimony, but for me, that has been really important to not feed into that talk that allows me to make those excuses, to
I
not
think
do
that's
and be all I can.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably true for everybody, even if they don't acknowledge it, is that the people we surround ourselves with and the things that they say and the energy that they bring, the music that we listen to, like you said, all of those things I think are factors in how we see ourselves
Right.
and what we expect of ourselves. And yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. I couldn't agree with that even more. And I couldn't agree even more about the therapist and getting help. And so, yeah, talking to a professional counselor or therapist, and then also, talking to other people who may not be a professional counselor, but can give you wise counsel, right?
Right. We all need somebody to talk to, right? Like I know it we are in a culture that really promotes like independence and me, and I got this and I'm strong and yeah,
The place for that,
and,
right?
and two things are true. I am strong and I got help, right? Like, so it's okay. but you know, I still find that we have to give each other permission, because that's not everybody's there may be some fear in like opening up that door of a therapist. What does that mean? And it means different things. For some people, it is just as simple as like, you know, you need to go talk to someone. But for others of us, we may need like some treatment, and being okay with whatever that is, just so we can show up as our best selves.
I love it. And you know, just talking about it makes a difference. And I'm glad that there is a lot more conversation around it and helping people to understand it's okay. And going to therapy doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It
Right,
means that you need to talk to somebody.
right.
And you know, and I even think again that goes back to the connection to how we met when me meeting your parents at the healing center
Yep.
or
Yep.
through the healing center.
Through the
And
healing center. And that has always that probably my propensity and encouragement of like getting, you know, help where you need it, like mental health care, probably comes from, you know, the seeds planted by my parents. I remember my parents talking about, you know, getting mental health care before it was in vogue, right? When people
yeah.
would, I mean, when people would actually like look at you crazy or put you out of places because you were talking about it.
Mhm.
I am so glad that my dad lived long enough, and my mom is still doing the work of like just making sure that particularly the Black church is connected, has access, and embraces mental health care as we need it.
I love it. I love it. And I love them.
I do too. They all right. They all right.
They all right.
Hey, mama, we're gonna make you watch this.
You know, I got to know your mom the best. And she and my son, I love her and my son loves her.
Your
And
son is like like her child, so
I
you know.
it was a beautiful it was
He
beautiful.
loves you.
Well, good. So look,
Yes.
okay, the third part of the SOA success system is calculating choices. And so, you know, I think about you talking about sort of a full circle journey, right, with Shelby County government, really. But it took some calculated choices to get there, and even calculated choices to be where you are in your personal life. Talk about some of the choices that you've made.
I have made intentional choices, um, a choice of being patient
Mm.
through a process. And that can be hard, right? Like the process is not always pretty. It's not linear. Sometimes it's not based on whether you the best or not. Um, but it is a process that when you go through it, whatever that is, there is so much opportunity to learn about yourself and be stronger on the other side of it. You know, I'm being kind of vague, but I I would just say I've been with government for 17 years. And 17 years in dog years, that's what 7 times 7 is, it's like 119 years. It's a long time. And there have been lots of moments where, you know, there may have been some shiny alternatives, or, you know, may have been a little upset with the process. So I was, you know, thought about picking on my ball, and but I really was intentional about like, Lord, let me be still and learn what I need to learn. And I think through being still, I really have become a different kind of leader. I have been more comfortable with being Dorcas, right? Like I'm no matter how hard I try, I'm not going to be anybody else but Dorcas. I'm going to cry when I'm talking to staff about how much we care about people. That's okay. It's okay to do that. I am a thinker. I am a person that, you know, emotes, like, but figuring out who I am and making sure that, you know, I'm not just making excuses. I'm just doing, sometimes we say, well, that's just how I am. That's just who I'm going to be. I'm not saying that. There are things that I need to improve in my relationships with other people, but I am comfortable with myself because I have submitted myself to just the process. And I will say this, I don't think that age is, because I get into these discussions with some of my younger, particularly my daughter. We talk about the workplace and younger people coming in, and they may come in and be like, well, I need to be the manager. Like, I got 3 degrees, I can be the manager. And my argument is it's not about age, but I do think that experiences that you go through that allow you to just reflect on who you are and really get comfortable in that, I think there's some value there. So the experiences can make a real difference in your leadership. I know I just went down a rabbit hole, but I hope y'all got something out of it.
I think that was good. And as you were saying it, I was just thinking about my journey, right? And the value of it too, because the same thing, because I hire a lot of younger people, and it's so much value on both sides of it, right? And I know you get that for sure.
Absolutely.
But being the leader and the person with the vision, it's something about your personal and professional experiences in life that can position you to deal with all the challenges that come with
all the challenges that will come. And again, you can get that you can get that by the age of 30, 35, right? Like, you can get those experiences. You can get it at 25, but you have to have them, right? And sometimes, time can be associated in some cases with some experiences. So just finding the balance there and recognizing just the value in it. I'll tell you this. So, before I became director of the Division of Community Services, and this is a little known fact, I had some interest in being the director before I was the director. And someone else was brought in, it's an appointed job. Someone else was brought in. And when she was brought in, she made me her deputy director, right? And I was feeling some kind of way. I was like, this is a new person coming in. I know I've been here for a little while, why didn't anybody pick me, right? And when I tell you that was the biggest blessing of my career, because that woman, Martha Lott, I hope she's watching this. I will forever be indebted to her. She took me under her wing and, taught me so much and helped me have experiences that I needed to have in the role. But I was insulated with her kind of taking some of the hits, right? She would take the hits, but I would get the lessons. Right. That's how good God is. He gave me the time to get some experiences that if I had taken them hits when I thought, like 5 years before, when I thought I was ready, I wasn't ready.
I
And
think
so, it's just something to think about.
Yeah, no, it's a lot to think about. I think that's powerful, and that you're able to look back on that. But for the people who watch this, especially young people who watch this, to be able to see, because I can remember in my career too, of all the times it was just like, why wasn't I chosen? That's not fair. That went right. I should have gotten that position. And then to see that whether it's a similar situation to you or just some other situation, it's like, okay, life was supposed to happen for me to be prepared, for me to be
Prepared, right.
prepared for that position. I think that's awesome and good example. So it's just a lot to think about. You can apply it to your life personally too, right?
Right.
Like,
Wait a minute. This is gonna be on social media. I think I will just say this. I thank God that he didn't give me everything that I thought I wanted. And let me have some experiences so that even the things that I celebrate now are so much sweeter because of those experiences, right? But had you given them to me at 24, 25.
right. A lot of them might be over and gone and not, yeah.
It's fleeting. Yeah.
I get
So
it.
he knows, but being patient through that, I think is just a lesson. And it's hard, right? It is difficult when you are in process, when things are you in this place of like you you know what your vision is, but you're not there yet. It's hard to stay the course. But I promise you, there is beauty on the other if you can stick with it. But that's why your village is important,
That's what
right?
I was
We go
about to
back
say.
to because they will pour into you. They will root for you. They will tell you the truth, like, girl, you got to get yourself together because so and so, like, get you your folks. Get you your folks because
That
they
and
know the patience.
that you're right. And they can share you the stories just like you just shared of like, well, this is how this happened. I thought I was ready. I wasn't ready. Um,
Right.
and as I agree, and that's why I like to mentor. I have a mentor. I know you do the same. I'm sure that's been an important part of your life too. It's just important for us to have people to provide those other perspectives so that we
Absolutely.
see what we can't see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Dorcas, you know how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices. You are definitely a success woman. And like I said, I have loved watching your journey. Love watching your journey.
You're
You
gonna
are
make me cry.
successful.
I love you. Can I say that on here? I love you too.
You too. I love you too. And look, before I even
I'm
go
trying to
into
stay
what
professional.
oh, girl, ain't nothing about me 100% professional. Like you said, you gonna always be Dorcas. I'm gonna always be Summer. And I was gonna say that too. Is that's one thing that has been that I've really loved and admired. It doesn't matter what your title is. You are always gonna be sweet, funny, laid back, cool Dorcas. And that's part of what has really endeared me to you over the years. Just seeing you always be Dorcas.
Can I say something? You make me think
Absolutely.
about I remember years ago, there was someone who was working somewhere and I was having lunch with them and just talking about what the world would look like if I moved into this particular sector. And this person was a leader somewhere. And they said, I remember them saying to me, I mean, you're smart, you do good work, but you just always seem like you just chilling, right? Like you just happy. And at that moment, I felt my my Dorcas, that other Dorcas, rise up, and I was really taken aback. And I said to this person, because they were far more aggressive and, may come in and just kind of rule with an iron fist. And I said, you may kick down the door to get what you want. And I knock on it and talk to people as I'm coming through. I said, it doesn't make you more effective than me, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't get you a result that's better than mine. In fact, yours is worse.
That's what I was about to say.
So I'm gonna keep on being kind to people. I'm gonna keep on treating people the way that I want to be treated. And if that is me redefining what a strong leader looks like, then that's just what I'm gonna have to do because I can't be anything but what I believe and what drives me. So
I'm glad you shared that because this makes me think about the importance of role models and mentors too, and especially being a Black woman in leadership and me coming from a leadership roles and I think a lot of us feel like we have to be that to get to where we want to go. And I think there's a miseducation around that, and I'm glad that we're talking about it and that you're demonstrating that you can be who you are, you can be kind, you don't have to be aggressive to be in that role or to get those positions. But I think that some of us maybe are naturally that way. And then some of us maybe have felt like we gotta act
that you
like
have
that.
to. Right. And
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said if you are just there are people that are different than me and their style works, but they're true to themselves, right? Like it's not people can smell a phony coming from a million miles away and you don't do it well, right? So you get me in there trying to bust down doors and like it is just not going to work. Now, does that mean that it is okay? So I just went through like big leadership tests. So I'm telling y'all my business and, personality testing. And, some feedback that I got on my 360 is just around my management of conflict. Like, I don't particularly love conflict. And so just making sure that I appropriately deal with conflict in a way that gets us to the other side, right? So I got work to do there. But that doesn't mean that dealing with conflict, I don't have to go 180 degrees to the side of like, now I'm yelling and pumping my fist. It is just about being, very focused on dealing with issues. So there is still things that you have to learn even when you are doing you, but you don't have to be anybody else to
I
be.
love it. That's so true. And then that's true of life. And I'm so glad that you are you, and you are saying this, because a lot of young people watch this, and maybe older people, whoever, but people who may be new in their career and don't really know how they need to be in the workplace. And I'm excited that you're sharing. You can genuinely be you, and yes, and recognize opportunities for growth and take feedback, but at the same time understand the value of being you. Of just
Right.
being you. I love it. All right. So what I was saying is, you know how to
Sorry. Sorry.
No, that was great. I'm glad you added that. But you know how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices. You are a success woman. But what is your personal definition of success? How would you define success now?
Success is peace and joy and just and that doesn't mean having a whole bunch of money or having a whole bunch of stuff. It is just having just my mind is clear where I am able to just be, to not be afraid to just be, right? For me and for my husband, we talk about this a lot. Like, you can get so caught up on like what's to come, and you pushing for the next whatever. And sometimes we just stop and say, we are successful. We got peace. We got these kids. We got this dog. We got each other, and we got peace. But not only if the peace is just for you, then that's not success. So the second part of it is just being in a place where you can affect the peace for other people, whatever that looks like. That's why I work in service. We're in service, the service industry. So focusing on like just making sure you got a house, you can have peace. You have access to a job, you got peace. If your children are safe, peace. So just trying to find ways that our work influences some piece of peace for others. I think for me, that's success, right? Like that's joy. I feel successful. I can actually say that right now. Like if nothing else ever happens, I feel I have felt success, and I feel it today.
I love it. I love it. Last question.
Okay.
What's one piece of advice you would give somebody who's watching this, who wants to be successful, however they define success, but they may face obstacles? Just one piece of advice.
I think I said all of them.
You said a lot.
Get you a therapist, get you some friends, and watch what you put in your brain. I don't know one thing. I mean, I think all the things we've talked about, probably the most important for me. So let's just talk about professionally. Like, so if you have someone that's struggling professionally or trying to figure it out, get you a coach, right? Like that's slick a therapist. So that's why I say get you a coach. Get you a professional coach, like research that. And I think that will open up so much self-awareness and just give you access to just tools that you may need to overcome barriers and to really figure out how to move towards whatever your definition of success is.
I love it. Get you some help. Look, then we can sum it all up. Get some help.
That's the headline on when you post this. Get some help. Like
Put it
whatever
all
it looks
together.
like.
Dorcas, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to you. I'm so glad and appreciative that you're sharing your story and your journey and your smile and your spirit and all this great advice. It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Summer, I am proud of you and thank you for everything that you are doing for all of us. You are so what success.
Thank you, girl.